In this video, we will introduce resources. As you build your app's GUI and add resources such as strings in the strings.xml file or GUI components in the main.xml file to your app, the ADT plugin tools generates a class named R that contains nested static classes representing each type of resource in your project's res folder. You can find this class in your project's gen folder, which contains generated source files. Within class R's nested classes, the tools create static final int contents that enable you to refer to these resources programmatically from your app's code. Some of the nested classes in class R include class drawable, which contains constants for any drawable items such as images that you can put in the various drawable folders in your app's res folder, such as all of these. Class ID contains constants for the GUI components in your XML layout files. Class layout contains constants that represents each layout file in your project, such as main.xml. And class string contains contents for each string in the strings.xml file. Let's look at our project and how it's built. So first we have our source folder that contains all of our sources. And then we have our res folder. There are many items which you use to build a good Android application. Apart from coding for the application, we need various other resources like static content that your code uses, such as bitmaps, colors, layout definitions, user interface strings, animation instructions, and more. These resources are always maintained separately in various subdirectories under the res directory of the project. One of these is drawable. Here we keep image files like PNG, JPG, GIF, or XML files that are compiled into bitmaps, state list, shapes, animation drawables. They are saved in the res drawable and accessed from the r.drawable class. And to ensure that your bitmaps look their best, we include alternative versions at different resolutions for different screen densities. The configuration qualifiers you can use for density specific resource are LDPI. So we have a folder called drawable-LDPI, which is for low density, MDPI, which is for medium, HDPI, which is for high, XHDPI, which is for extra high, and also XXHDPI, which is extra high. Your application should provide alternative resources to support specific device configurations. For example, you should include alternative drawable resources or images for different screen resolution and alternative string resources for different languages. At runtime, Android detects the current device configuration and loads the appropriate resources for your application. To specify configuration-specific alternatives for a set of resources, we create a new directory in the res folder named in the form of resname-config qualifier, such as the drawable dash and then its qualifier. So for example, here resources_name will be any of the resources mentioned before as drawable or anything else we need, such as layout, menu, values. And the qualifier will specify an individual configuration for which these resources are to be used. And you can always check the official documentation for a complete list of qualifiers for different type of resources. Our layout folder contains XML files that define a user interface layout. They are saved in res layout and accessed from the r.layout class. For example, we have activity main, custom toast, and then we have main with numbering and prompts.xml. I could have a layout-ar, for example, for a default language and alternative layout for Arabic language. I also have here a menu folder which has XML files that define application menus such as an options menu, context menu, or submenu, and they are saved in the res menu and accessed from the r.menu class. And I also have values and its different qualifiers. And here we have XML files that contain simple values such as strings, integers, and colors. For example, here are some file name conventions for resources you can create in this directory. Strings for string values and access from the r.string class, dimens.xml for dimension values and access from the r.dimen class, and styles
for styles and access from the r.style class. We can also have within values arrays.xml, integers.xml, bools.xml, colors.xml, each corresponding to a value. For example, r.array class, r.integer, r.bool, etc. So this concludes our discussion of resources.